It was Christmas Eve, and snowflakes danced gently from the sky, covering the small town of Pine Brook in a blanket of white. Emily Parker, a kind-hearted 12-year-old girl with curly brown hair and bright green eyes, was walking home from the bakery. She clutched a brown paper bag filled with warm bread, two slices of pie, and a small roasted chicken. Her family's humble Christmas meal. Emily's family wasn't rich, but her mother always said, "Kindness doesn't cost a thing, Em." Those words stuck with Emily every day. As she turned a corner, Emily noticed a man sitting on a bench near the frozen fountain in the park. He was wrapped in an old coat, his head bent low, and his hands trembling in the cold. Emily paused, her heart aching for the stranger. "Excuse me, sir," Emily said softly. The man lifted his head, revealing tired blue eyes and a rough beard. He looked surprised to see her. "Hello, little one," he said with a weak smile. "Are you hungry?" Emily asked. The man hesitated before nodding. "I haven't eaten in 2 days." Without thinking twice, Emily opened her bag and handed him a warm piece of bread and a slice of pie. "Here, it's Christmas. Everyone deserves a warm meal today." The man's hands shook as he accepted the food. "You're very kind, young lady. What's your name?" "Emily Parker," she said proudly. "What's yours?" "Jack," he replied. "Just Jack." Emily sat beside him on the bench as he ate. They talked about the snow, Christmas traditions, and their favorite holiday songs. Jack had a deep laugh that made Emily smile, even though he looked so tired and worn. When Jack finished eating, he reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a small shiny card. "Emily, you've been kinder to me than most people have in years. If you ever need help, call the number on this card." Emily took the card and squinted at it. It had gold letters that read, "Jack Montgomery, Montgomery Industries." Her eyes widened. "Wait, are you the billionaire Jack Montgomery? The one who owns those fancy hotels downtown?" Jack chuckled and nodded. "I am. But sometimes, Emily, it's nice to step away from all of that and remember what really matters." Emily's jaw dropped. She couldn't believe it. But before she could say another word, Jack stood up. "I must go now, Emily. But thank you for your kindness. You reminded me of something truly important today." And with that, Jack disappeared into the snowy night. Emily stared at the gold card in her hand, her mind racing. What would happen next? Would she ever see Jack again? And did this tiny act of kindness just change her life forever? The next morning, Emily woke up to the smell of pancakes and hot cocoa. Her mother was humming a Christmas carol in the kitchen. Emily placed Jack's card carefully on her nightstand and got out of bed. "Good morning, sweetheart," her mom greeted her with a warm smile. "Morning, Mom," Emily said, her mind still on last night's encounter. After breakfast, Emily decided to share the story with her mom. Her mother listened carefully, her eyes widening when Emily showed her the gold card. "Emily, this man is one of the richest people in the country. Are you sure it was really him?" her mom asked. Emily nodded. "He was so kind, Mom, and he looked so lonely." Her mom smiled softly. "Well, sweetheart, you did something wonderful. But don't get your hopes up too high. People like him, they're often too busy to remember small moments like these." Emily felt a pang of sadness, but nodded. Deep down, though, she had a feeling Jack wouldn't forget. Later that afternoon, a sleek black car pulled up in front of Emily's small house. Emily and her mother exchanged wide-eyed glances as a well-dressed man in a sharp suit stepped out of the car and walked up to their front door. "Good afternoon," the man said politely. "Is this the Parker residence?" "Yes," Emily's mother replied cautiously. The man handed over an elegant white envelope. "This is from Mr. Montgomery. He asked me to deliver it personally." Emily's hands shook as she opened the envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter from Jack himself. "Dear Emily, thank you for your kindness on Christmas Eve. You reminded me of the true spirit of the season. Please accept this small token of my gratitude. Warm regards, Jack Montgomery." Emily's mother gasped as she unfolded another piece of paper, a check made out to Emily's family for an incredible sum of money. Emily and her mother sat in silence, staring at the check. It was enough money to pay off their debts, repair their home, and even save for Emily's future. Her mother wiped away a tear. "Emily, do you realize what this means? Our lives. They're going to change. Emily nodded, but her mind wasn't on the money. She thought about Jack and how lonely he had seemed in the park. Mom, can we write him a thank you letter? I want him to know how much this means to us. Her mother smiled. Of course, sweetheart. We'll write it together. As the snow continued to fall outside their window, Emily felt warmth in her heart. Christmas wasn't just about gifts or money. It was about kindness, connection, and the magic that happens when people care for one another. A week later, Emily's thank you letter arrived at Jack Montgomery's office. Jack sat at his desk, holding Emily's carefully written note in his hands. A soft smile crossed his face. That evening, Jack made a decision. He picked up his phone and dialed a number. Mr. Montgomery, sir? His assistant asked. Clear my schedule for tomorrow, Jack said firmly. I'm going to Pine Brook. The next day, a black limousine pulled up in front of Emily's modest home. Emily and her mother peeked out from behind the curtains, their hearts racing. Jack stepped out of the limousine, wearing a sharp black coat and a warm smile. Hello again, Emily, he said softly. Emily's face lit up. Mr. Jack, you came back, Jack smiled. I did, Emily, and I have something very special to discuss with you and your mother. Jack stepped closer to Emily and her mother, his eyes kind but serious. I've been thinking a lot about our conversation, he said, about kindness and what really matters. He paused, gathering his thoughts. I know that wealth can provide comfort, but it can also create a distance between people. The kindness you showed me reminded me of something I've been missing for a long time. I want to help not just with money, but in a way that will allow us to stay connected, to remember what's important. Emily's heart raced with excitement as Jack continued. I've been looking for someone to help me with a new project, something that focuses on bringing people together, building communities, and helping others in need. And I can't think of anyone better to start with than you, Emily. Her mother looked at Emily, a mixture of disbelief and joy on her face. What do you mean, Mr. Montgomery? Jack smiled warmly. I want Emily to be a part of a foundation I'm starting. We'll work together to create opportunities for people in towns like Pine Brook, where kindness and community are at the heart of everything. It won't be just about financial help. It will be about teaching people how to care for one another, to share, and to support each other. Emily's eyes welled up with tears, overwhelmed by the possibility. She had never imagined that one small act of kindness could lead to something so transformative. I'd be honored, she whispered. Jack nodded. Good. And Emily, I've arranged for some of the funds I've given you to go toward the foundation as well. You and your family won't have to worry about anything anymore. But I want you to know, it's not just the money that makes a difference. It's the kindness we show to one another that can truly change the world. As Jack left their home, promising to return soon to discuss the foundation in more detail, Emily and her mother stood in silence, watching the snow fall gently around them. It felt as though the world itself was embracing them in a warm hug. For the first time in a long while, Emily believed that anything was possible.